This is Mutton, and I'm Beth. And in this episode, we'll start where we left off in Kalgoorlie. We'll head up to drive through Broad Arrow, check out Awol for lunch, then head up into the little town of Menzies for taking a detour off the highway and heading into Niagara Dam and meeting up at Gwalia. Enjoy the journey.
How cool is this? Oh, check out the rig for travelling around Australia, mate.
So luckily for you, I managed to grab some footage of the rig in the same spot without Martin's head in the way. This is in Awol where we stopped and had some lunch and gave the four-legged boys a little bit of a run around. As you can see, Frank kind of wins every time, but points to Hoz for trying. Frank's also not very good at dropping the ball when he comes back, so he likes to run off with it. From Awol, we took the back way to meet up with the highway again, and that involved corrugations and us getting a little more familiar with what the car and van sounded like travelling on some fairly intense corrugated roads. Whilst when we started this journey, our drone skills were left a lot to be desired, probably the best way to put it. But I had to include some of this footage because it showcases the stunning landscape that you get to see in the deep goldfields. So beautiful, lush bushlands and stunning red dirt. Might be biased, was born out there, but I think it is absolutely stunning. So here we are just getting familiar with corrugations and red dirt and loving every minute of it. And then Martin decided to be a clown.
Oh, it's beautiful out here. Just thought I'd have a quick wee. Oh, hang on a minute. Hey! 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 Bloody hell! That's what happens when you leave the keys in the car.
For anyone who is familiar with our driving situation, Martin gets car sick, so he does all the driving. And the moment he said, "Oh, Beth, just drive forward a little bit," I knew he was up to something. But off we went, and we arrived in Menzies. Menzies is a little gold mining town. Gold was found in the area in 1894, and a town popped up from that. Now it is relatively small. There isn't a whole lot going on there, but it does fluctuate based on mining activity. And there's now only approximately 100 people that live there, but the history is stunning. Our campsite, they've got a little tourist park there, and it was beautiful. The next day we headed inland, took a little detour again off the highway, came across some little horses in the middle of the road, which made me very excited, and continued on our way. This was the journey to what is called Niagara Dam. So Niagara Dam was built in 1898. The idea was that it would provide water to locomotives that were moving about the area because of the gold rush. The story behind it is it never actually filled. So as far as a water collecting dam plan is concerned, it was an epic failure, but it has been used ever since as a sort of a local hideaway and camp spot. And it is stunning. If nothing else, the flies love it.
So this is what we have woken up to this morning. Yes.
It was here that we took our first little family bike ride, which was lots of fun. It was good because there was no traffic, so we didn't really have to worry about it. But as you can see, everyone is loving the little ride. We stayed here, I think it was only one night, but it was a beautiful little campsite and so much space. There wasn't any facilities. Actually, there was a toilet on sort of the other side to where we camped. There was a few other people there, and we were there midweek. It was just a beautiful little hideaway. As I said, very popular with locals, but also ridiculously popular with flies. From there, we continued our little detour. Definitely not the most direct route, but we went through Kalgoorlie. So, as with lots of the little towns around here, Kalgoorlie's there because gold was found in 1895, but it is now considered a ghost town. Things like fly in, fly out, and essentially people digging up all the gold means that lots of these little towns with really rich history in the goldfields Outback area are now either ghost towns or very, very small population. But after our quick stop there, we continued along the road, just checking out the scenery. I remember having a conversation as we were going through this part of the country, and we both just agreed that the scenery and the landscape, watching the landscape change, watching the beautiful vivid colours in the landscape was our favourite bit of it. So yes, we'd only been on the road for maybe 2 weeks, if that, by this stage, but we were well and truly loving it. As you can see here, some more subpar drone driving, but it's just, there's nothing around and it's stunning. It's complete peace. And then we arrived at Gwalia. So Gwalia is a ghost town now as well, essentially. There is a mine there that has recently started working again, but is definitely not the thriving little town that it once was. Gwalia is probably, Martin would still say, his favourite spot, and it wasn't because of the amazing nature or anything like that. It was the stories. So the people of Gwalia, like, the mine was started in 1897 and it was abruptly shut in 1963, and everyone pretty much left within 24 to 48 hours. The people of Gwalia or neighbouring Leonora have taken it upon themselves to preserve a whole heap of the history of the town.
Yeah, as we go around here, I'm just going to show you this building. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, we haven't been able to go inside, but there was some stuff in the museum. This building is awesome, absolutely awesome. Especially somebody who used to be in the carpentry and building game, I have got a lot of admiration for the work. However, you've got an idea there. Now then, let's find out the important information here. Go on, Beth.
Oh, it cost them $9,600 to build the whole building.
$9,600 to build that. Do you know what? You couldn't even get the veranda for that price today.
And it's little bits of history like that that make your visit to Gwalia absolutely stunning. So all these little houses that you can see here, some of them, and most of them, weren't actually in this spot, but they were dotted around the town of Gwalia when people lived there. And once everyone upped and left, they'd left their belongings. They left everything they had. They were all... the mine shut down and they were all promised work in Kalgoorlie. So they literally just jumped on a train and went down, packed a suitcase and left everything else that they had. So you can spend hours just walking around. All the houses have a little story of, the people that lived there or the business that took place there, massive parties that happened, anything. And lots of the people here were migrants. So they really thrived and built a little community there where they supported each other. There's stories of, illegal alcohol being made and sold, stories of big birthday parties being held for children. And it's really explained so well as you walk around. So even though it's a little bit out of the way, Gwalia is definitely somewhere that we would recommend people go. Not only is there the town, there is a huge museum. So the museum is built around the house which Herbert Hoover lived in. So Herbert Hoover, who went on to become one of the presidents of the United States, actually lived in Gwalia and managed sort of the start of the mine in 1897. So along with the preservation of these buildings, there is a huge museum that's dedicated to Gwalia, the town, the story of Herbert Hoover, the story of the mine, and the different things that have happened there. So Gwalia, if you haven't been, definitely put it on your list. We would highly recommend. And that brings us to the end of this video. So we'll see you again in the next one.